Let's see if it will work.
Now it seems to work.
Yeah. You know, so isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So maybe I can contact them or something to see what is the issue, because I haven't, because other students were having those issues as well. Okay, welcome, folks. And then, Daniel, when you get a chance, go ahead and see for yourself. I got an issue with that I exceeded my quota when I was using it as training. And in my other class, another student got that as well. If you get issues, what should you do then, Mark?
You should contact you or Daniel.
Well, no, first, what should you do? Before you contact me, what should you
You
do?
should try to figure it out.
Well, first of all, you want to document it, right, Mark?
Yeah.
That's what you want to do. You want to document your work, because we may be able to figure out, but it may be beyond my control. Do I have control over YouTube? No, right, Mark? I have no control over YouTube, right? Many times they say they have to wait 48 hours. I'm not giving you, or 24 hours. I'm not giving you, I don't have the control, right? It's even sometimes on Blackboard. Do I have full control of Blackboard? I have over my section, but many times I don't have full control over Blackboard. I don't have full control to make another section. So it's basically, those are areas. So the key here, if you encounter a problem, then what I want you to do is document that problem. And you can even record that problem. You can even record it in as a cloud recording, or also as recording to your computer, recording that. And then, Mark, what do you want to do is then investigate, are there other people that know how to resolve it? And then you can reach out to us to see if you have that issue. And then it may be that we'll try to investigate it to others. And it may be an issue that we'll try to figure out what was the issue there. Because now I can record to another channel of mine, but it's not available. Okay, what else is going on? And those of you that have not had your webcams on, that's a requirement for the class unless you've gotten permission ahead of time. Okay? And Noah and Faz. Okay. Any questions before I begin? So I have my recordings done. I have my on screen. So let's begin. Let me start sharing the screen. What I want to do today is talk about our assignments for the next time we meet. I want to talk about operating systems, software, applications, hardware, and see how people can help each other. Okay, any questions, Emerson, from the chat that I need to deal with?
No, we're all good.
We're all good. That's what I'd love to hear. We're all good. Okay. One more couple of housekeeping chores is we have in person March 3rd, our exam. If you have any accommodations, you will always do it within the class. So come to the class if you're having it, okay? And if somebody needs to does somebody need to turn off their mic? Do we have that? Okay, all right. And then Daniel, do you want to make anytime that you are emailing myself or Daniel, you remember that, Mark, when you were saying you were going to contact us, is what do you want to put in the subject line? Jared, what do you want to make sure you put in the subject line? If you're emailing me or Daniel or any of our other teaching assistants.
Section J.
Right, because it's basically, how could I forget you, Jared, with the J, right? Section J and then J, but other than that, everyone else I Just know I know you, but I don't know what section you are. So make sure that we don't have to worry about that. Anything else, Daniel, that you'd like to report to the students before we start?
No, I mean, the assignment was extended, the individual assignment to today, so make sure that's in
Right.
as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the one is due Wednesday, the group one,
Yeah.
so good luck with that.
Okay, great. So I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to share. And in this case, I share my screen. And you can see here, you see us here. I go to section J. You see on Zoom meetings, everybody is able to see that we have cloud recordings. So anyone asking about any recordings, you know, you always can go to Blackboard to see your recordings. And let's make sure that we know what's due. In the what's due section, you know that last Wednesday, our audit assignment was extended till today. The digital communications, we talked about it, that all of these audit assignments should be recorded as a tutorial. We had the tech guide 1 hardware, the adaptive assignments, the quizzes, and the readings. And then for this Wednesday, we have the audit assignment, software, the adaptive assignment, and quizzes. The one thing that I note, Daniel, and then later on we can switch it. And the last question of the quizzes, it talks about Google Chrome, and it should say Chrome OS.
I can change that right now.
You know what I mean? Rather than it's Google Chrome, and the way you can think about it is a browser, right?
Yeah, because, yeah.
And Chrome. Yeah, so that needs to be changed on that. Okay, so that's confusing. Because you could say, hey, that's not an operating system. Okay, so we have this, and then the widely reading and adaptive, you know, always the same thing. The Tech Guide 1 should have been done last week. And then the hardware adaptive assignment. Should appear, I should have a different version, right, of my adaptive assignment. Okay, and then I can see here that I don't know what happened to these 6 students, if they've changed sections or they're no longer in the class, but 6 students haven't started. Okay, so I know that. Now, my question to everyone is, we talk about roles and the access with the need to know. And if I look at my version, I have on my Blackboard, I have what I see: users, groups, and users. So Heidi, do you see groups and users on your section?
No.
No. And if I go under users, what should I see under users? What role is everyone in this class, in this section?
Students.
Students. So I should be able to see, right, that I should be able to see all the students, and you see here they're all listed as students, and then you see Daniel is promoted to teaching assistant, and I have another teaching assistant of Sebastian. So in this, what we call this is, we call it, basically we call it in this way, I call this a learning management system. The acronym is LMS, and the whole idea of this is basically, if I think about an LMS, this is software. This is what we call application software for a learning management system. It can be used in education. It can be used in business. If I'm going to be having all my employees learn and keep score of what they're doing, I can use a learning management system. And in this case, your role is student, and Daniel and Sebastian have teaching assistant, and I have a role of instructor. So the idea becomes then, Heidi, if you open up another section of Blackboard, you have another section, Heidi, of Blackboard. And what's that section? If you go to courses, what is that section?
That's the audit one. So then we're teaching assistants or
Right. So I had to ask permission from the administration, those that control, right, Mark? Other people control, those that can control the audit, and open up your audit section. Everybody open up your audit section. Mark, did you open up your audit section as well?
I'm opening up as we.
Yeah, right. And Heidi, did you open it up? Heidi?
I'm gonna go open it up.
Yeah, open it up. And Emerson, did you open it up?
Yeah, I'm doing it right now.
Yeah, do it right now. So, because my section, even though I say audit, we have to prove each other, right? You know, who knows what is given the fact. And Emerson, tell me when you get it.
All right, I got it.
Okay, do you have users and groups down below here?
Let me see.
Under course management? You
Yep.
see here?
Yep.
You have it, user. Click on users and groups. Everybody click on users and groups. And now you have it, and then users, what should be listed as users? Before you even click, Emerson, what should, everybody's listed in here, and what is the role of everyone in here?
Teaching assistant.
Teaching assistants. Okay? But myself, right, and some of you, Anna, are you here? Anna Hollister? Is she in class today? Notice Anna Hollister.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, my
Okay.
audio was.
Okay, right. So Anna, you have some other, yours looks different than others. Why? You see that, Anna?
Yes, I do.
And why is it? Any idea? What other
Wait,
role
can
do
you?
you play at the university? Are you just
Oh,
a
I'm an
regular-
athlete.
You're an
So
athlete,
is it? Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
right? What athletics do you do?
I run track.
You run track. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So do you think that has anything to do with it?
Does that mean that they can see my
Yes.
Blackboard? Okay.
Yes. Okay, that's good to know, right? Did you know that even?
No.
Right. So I'm letting you know because we're disclosing here, right? And now, and what it is why can you disclose that? Because you're a teaching assistant. You can see it on your end, right? But on the regular end, it's almost like we rehearsed it, Anna. We got to think, why is it different? Do you see this? How they put it into Blackboard is every student athlete has a group of people that see what she has in her grade, basically keeping track of you. And what the university had to give permission for that. And it's interesting, and I'm just thinking on the side is I'm on a computer committee, and that was one of the issues that came up one time that people were saying, because what is our role? When I talk about roles when I talked about roles, what do I always say about roles? Anna, this is a great learning moment. When I talk about roles, what do I always say in IT? Information technology is the need to know. So they've decided at the university, because you're an athlete and there's some type of arrangement and you're mating, they've decided that they can have access and follow you as along. Whether that, then you have to do that. But it was interesting because remember in our other section, we weren't, as students, you're not even able to see who is following you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so it's just interesting. You see all these people with their name, and you can see there's just not one. They're so
Yeah.
popular, right? It's like the whole crew there it has access to your. Besides, I know I get this. You probably know I get a request a couple times a semester to ask how my athletes are proceeding in my class. You understand?
I've heard about that, yes.
Yeah, but I get that. So I respond to that because I know the university has an agreement, but other people, even if your parents called me one time, right, and say, how is our dear Anna doing? I wouldn't share that because in that case, I don't know if they need to know. You know what I mean? We signed any agreement. But here at the university, Blackboard has given them, the administrators have given them that permission.
Okay.
No one asked me, just so you know that's beyond my role because I don't administer those courses. But I've promoted you here as teaching assistant. They may be a little bit confused, right? While they're following you, but that's that's their issue. But it's interesting that I wanted to show everybody that need to know. Now, what can you do now that we're on a roll now, and that you were there, and it looks like for the time being so far. How do I know this? Because all my athletes have this besides them. You know, understand? Other students don't. And I know it from the past is I am situated in this case. I'm situated in this case that if I go to show all, right, and if I go down, right, everyone is basically a teaching instructor except for me. You see that? Teaching assistant except for me. So the question becomes, Anna, is what's the difference? And is there any? So my question is there a roles IT need to know, and what's the difference in Blackboard between teaching assistant and instructor? And the difference is you can do, as a teaching assistant, you can do everything that I can do. The only difference is, can you promote people? Can you delete people, Anna? You can. Can you demote people? You can. Can you make somebody a teaching assistant, make them a student? Yes, you can. Can you delete their materials? Yes, you can. You have full control, but the only difference is you can delete everyone in the class besides me. So that's the only difference. So I guess that idea, I'm the instructor here. I'm getting, that's part of my assignment. So to teach this class, I've made an agreement with the university to do that along with my research and service activities. Okay, so we have this done. We know that this has been completed. And then the other idea here in assignment in groups, Anna, you can see here, then this is where we have the groups. And if I go to group 0, you can see here that what we're doing in this case is making the Zoom individual assignment, which you should have done, and then the Zoom group assignment, which is due on Wednesday. The other one was due today. We extended it. And in this case, the Zoom cloud recording you have, You have it without a password. So we're leaving the same settings as before. You have the YouTube live streaming. Here I want you, Anna, is to put in your team members that were present in the recording. So if you have, Anna, other team members that didn't show up, you don't want to have them present, and you want then all of your group members to be listed, and then you want this to be a tutorial. So as you meet, you want to be able to know ahead of time how to do a co-host promotion, how to do breakout rooms, poll, chat, live, transcription, AI companion summary, spotlighting users, remote control. And then as you discuss it and you show it by how, Anna, by sharing your screens, make it a tutorial. So do you know how to do all of these? Probably not, but you'll learn how to do it. And in this case, you can teach others by those recordings. And then think about how could you use that not only in educational settings, but how could it be useful for you in business settings? Why would that be important? And show in remote control, have one person take control of another person's, computer, live stream to YouTube. If it doesn't work for one student, try it out on another. And then AI companion, cut and paste the AI companion and put what you've learned, your takeaways and your challenges. So it's not difficult, but it's the idea that I want you to be able to work in groups, right? I want you to be able to do the groups. Plus, I want you to be familiar with your groups. Any questions on that? Anna, you have any questions? Yes, no, I can't hear you.
No, I do not.
Okay, so that's the idea that, so you see, there's quite a few things that's why it's important that what I suggest is by your group should meet sometime before Wednesday, so you can have this all prepared. Okay, so the assignment groups then should be the same. So if I go to any of these assignment groups, then this is not good, right? Because all of this, I don't know, what is this? Whose is this? What is this? Create a Zoom meeting, how to enable. This should be basically, I don't even know whose this is. This group, the Zoom individual assignment. Jared, this is within your group, I see, Jared. So this is in whoever is in that last one, you have to
It was
figure that.
Rian.
So you have to figure it out and put it together. So even though this is your individual assignments, you as a group need to make sure that your group is properly set, right? That it under Zoom, it should look like this: Zoom individual assignment. And then this is with Alex and Ethan and Adam. And okay, so it should be all looking the same. And in this case, you should have another folder, of course, for your group assignment. Questions before we proceed? Okay, so I think we're fine here. And now I'm going to go to my regular section. You don't have this, right? In your regular section, you don't have this appearing. So if I go to PowerPoints and documents, these are where my PowerPoints are. You should have downloaded your first, you can download information systems, the hardware and the software. Last time, I think we talked about hardware. Let me just go back to hardware here. And if I look at my hardware, I can go to my downloads. And I know from my TG1, I can see that I also have my hardware that we talked about last time, right? You remember we talked about the CPU, primary and secondary storage. And last time we talked about the CPU, how it worked, the CPU works, and advances in computer design. And you remember we talked about primary storage and secondary storage and how much we have. Do you remember that? Emerson, do you remember that last time we talked about primary storage and secondary storage?
Right.
Okay, and what is the differences between and what did I ask you to do is ask you to find out how much do you have, how much RAM do you have, how much secondary storage you have, and what's the difference and who cares? Remember that? Somehow remember it? Yes, no?
Yep.
Okay. So my question becomes then, what I said is, did I say you had an open book that if I ask you a question, you can ask on the computer, you can figure out what's happening there? So there's a number of ways that you can look these up. Let me just try this. Let's see if this will work. I don't want this. Don't want my photos, but rather, let me just look at, I want to go down to voice. Let's see if this will work. And one of the things I want to do is call 800 chat GPT. So Emerson, what do you think that's going to do?
It's gonna call Chat GPT.
Right. Did you know I can call from a phone?
No, I had no idea.
Yeah. So they tried it as an experiment in their hackathon, even from a old, not even a cell phone, from a plain old telephone line that doesn't even have Android or an iOS. You can call 800 chat GPT. Let's see what happens. I don't know if it's going to work. Let's see. Let's see.
Hi, it's ChatGPT. This call may be reviewed for safety. How can I help?
Yes. Hi, I'm Dr. Rush, and I wanted to know what's the difference between primary storage and secondary storage?
Great question. Primary sources are original materials from the time under study, like diaries, interviews, or others.
Okay, ChatGPT, when I'm asking about primary storage, not stories, but storage. Did you understand? Like RAM, random access memory.
Got it. Primary storage refers to memory used by a computer to manage active tasks, like RAM. It's fast and volatile. Secondary storage, like hard drives or SSDs, is for long-term data storage. It's slower but non-volatile, keeping data even when the power is off.
So what is the advantage of basically primary storage over secondary? What can I do with primary that I cannot do with secondary?
Primary storage, like RAM, is much faster, so it can quickly read and write data for active processes. It's ideal for running applications and the operating system smoothly. Secondary storage is slower, so it's used for storing data long-term. With primary storage, you get speed, enabling multitasking and quick access to data, which secondary storage can't match.
Thank you. So this was with 1-800 chat GPT. It's what we call a vanity phone number that I can call and I can answer it. My problem with this what I'm finding is they're using, Daniel, a very old version of ChatGPT. And the microphone and the voice is not as good. So you understand when I said, tell me about primary storage and secondary storage, she thought I was talking about stories. When I asked before, tell me about DeepSeek, she was telling me that it's in the sea with fish. So basically you can see that they are not using, and how much it costs for OpenAI is nothing, but they're limiting it to for 15 minutes. So then what I tried to do is, let me share my screen, is there's another vanity number that's called Call Annie. But instead the number is 640 call Sam. It used to be like Samantha. So if I call that, let's see.
Hello, this is Annie. We can chat about your day, or I can help you learn new things. You can access this service and video call me by subscribing with this number on callannie.ai. Talk to you soon.
Okay, so now what I can do is I can go to the AI and basically I can make a web call called callannie.ai. So I make it callannie.ai and they give me a number of amados. They have Annie, they have Eric by In Your Face, I guess, Plate, he's an expert researcher, or Annie is always available as a friend. So let me do Eric, and we'll see.
Oh,
Hi, Eric. I'm Dr. Rush, and I'm with my IT class, and I wanted to know what's the difference between primary storage and secondary storage.
primary storage refers to the computer's internal memory, such as RAM, where data is temporarily stored for immediate access, whereas secondary storage refers to non-volatile devices, like hard drives or solid-state drives, that store data long-term.
And what is the advantage of primary storage for a business versus secondary storage?
The primary advantage of primary storage, such as RAM, is that it provides faster data access and processing times, allowing businesses to perform tasks and run applications more quickly and efficiently, which is critical for applications that require rapid data processing, such as financial modeling or real-time analytics.
And what's the difference between an operating system and application software?
An operating system manages and controls the computer's hardware and software resources, providing a platform for running applications, whereas application software, such as word processors or web browsers, performs specific tasks and provides functionality to the user, relying on the operating system to function.
Can you give me an example of an operating system?
Examples of operating systems include Windows, Mac OS, and Linux.
Okay, thanks a lot. We'll talk to you later. Bye. And let's hear, and what I like is if I go to my calls, this is what I like better in my calls than I did in 1-800-CHAT-GPT, in the way that I click on it and I have the entire text. And I can copy then the entire text of, hi, Eric, I'm Dr. Rush. And it's pretty good. I think it's better in voice to text. It's a little bit slow. And I wanted to know what's the difference between primary. It gives me that primary storage refers to the internal memory. What it doesn't let me know specifically is when I use, for instance, PowerPoint, it takes a copy of my PowerPoint from my secondary storage into my RAM, my internal RAM. And then if I want to make another web call, I can see the difference with Annie. And let's go to at this point, if I went to the call of Annie, I can see then here's on the computer memory how much I have. And then it tells me about my external storage. And then in this case, I have my hardware. For system software serves as an intermediary between hardware and functional applications. So right here is my hardware, here's my system software, and here's my application software. And sometimes what I've done is I have two conversational bots talk to each other. So you may even try it out. Sometimes I have Eric speak, and in another instance, I have Annie speak to each other. They don't even know that there's both of them are bots, and then they converse together. Or I'll have ChatGPT talk to Annie, and then they can converse. Sometimes you can try it out. So let's try Annie here. Hi, Annie. This is Dr. Rush. I'm with my IT class, and I wanted to know the difference between hardware, an operating system, and application software. Can you tell me succinctly what that means?
Hey, Dr. Rush. So think of it like a car. Hardware is the physical car itself. Operating system is like the engine that makes it run. And application software is like the GPU's navigation system that helps you get where you're going. Makes sense.
So give me an example, Annie.
So for a computer, the hardware would be the keyboard, mouse, and CPU. The operating system would be something like Windows or Mac OS, which helps all the hardware work together. And application software would be programs like Microsoft Office or Chrome that you use to get things done. Like you use Chrome to browse the internet, right?
Yes. Is Chrome basically operating system, or is an application software?
Chrome is definitely an application software. You can run it on different operating systems like Windows or Mac OS. So it's a program that uses the operating system to function.
Is there
Makes sense.
Is there something called Chrome OS?
Yeah, Chrome OS is actually an operating system developed by Google. It's designed for Chromebooks, and it's super lightweight and web-based. So to clarify, Chrome is a browser, which is an application software, but Chrome OS is an operating system.
I'm glad you made that clarification. Thank you. We'll talk soon. So then I can do the same thing with Annie then, right? And then I can do a web call where I get the web call, and I can have the web call as well. So I can go to web call.
Hello.
Great, that's great. Thank you, Annie. And then I can go to my calls, and you can see at 5:48, we're gonna hop off, and then you can see that I have it in 5:46. And in 5:46, she's basically distinguishes. And here you can see that sometimes they don't get it quite right. And that's the way in which you have to have still humans to oversee it, because sometimes it's what we call those hallucinations that are on board. Questions? So what I'd like you to do is you can even later on, we'll give an assignment where you're playing around with a lot of these conversational bots, and you can have one bot talk to another. And what we're thinking about is to be able for you to use some of the software to study for exams. So you understand, Isa? So we'll use some of the software to do study guides. You'll put in, for instance, the PowerPoints and other materials, have it produce a study guide from you, and also we'll have it produce a podcast. And, be interesting, Daniel, is to have them join in the podcast and record part of the podcast and see how that works out too.
Yeah.
So we could even do an assignment before the exam, Daniel, is to have them be able to use something like a Google Notebook and create not only a study guide, but create multiple choice questions and also a podcast, and they're joining in the podcast. What do you think, Daniel?
It's gonna be good.
I like that idea. Do you understand that, Isa? What I'm asking for? What am I asking for?
Want us to review with different methods like the bots or, make study guides or the podcast that you said.
Yeah, we'll do an assignment like that. After we do all the Zoom, there'll be an assignment where we can do it in individual, and we can even do it as a group where you can even, we'll see how it is, even have the bots create multiple choice questions over the material, and then maybe we'll use some of those. And then in the audit areas, we'll be able to see what each group did. We can, so maybe we'll have a place where people put in a group of questions that were created by bots, and maybe we'll choose a couple of those, a number of those, to add to the question pool. Basically see how Gen AI, rather than prohibiting us to do it, help us in learning and personalizing. That's what I want us to look at. So we have, you can see here that summary done by Zoom we're able to access, but there are other AI characteristics of Zoom that the university administrators have banned us to use. They have not allowed us. They've made that unable for us to use. And the question is why are they restricting us? Any ideas? Why do you think they're restricting us on using AI techniques in Zoom? Why are they, what do you think? In this case, Emerson, why do you think they're restricting us? Because they could give us more AI activities in Zoom, but they've restricted us. They only let us use the summary.
I don't know, maybe they just don't fully understand it yet. So
That could be it. I think it is. And also they don't fully, and that's what's so great about us. You understand that you'll be, for your project, Emerson, is I think you'll be the ones to be able to teach, and one is to talk about, there may be problems, right, that they want to make sure that they don't have issues with, but they may be over concerned with what students and what faculty or what all employees can use. One of the problems in the beginning, what they didn't like about Zoom in what they called their AIQ, was that Zoom said they would use the data for training purposes, because you have to train the models, right, Emerson? So the universities kind of said, hey, don't use we're in a meeting, we may be talking about important issues that we don't want to share, right? They may be talking about the strategy for the university, right? How are we going to get students that they don't want to share to the public? So that's what I think, were concerned. And other universities and other businesses said, we have our own data. We don't want to share it with the whole world. It's almost some ways that almost artists and poets and musicians say, hey, you're taking my songs, right? And you're creating songs for the whole public. A number of my musician friends, a couple of them love to use AI when they're stuck on, let's say, the last verse, and others are upset because they enjoy the process, and they say, now everybody can be a musician, right? Everybody can create a song, or everybody can write a play, or everybody can write a sitcom. And my contention is, the genie's out, but we got to have some guardrails. So those are issues of those guardrails there. So this is what we're going to explore. So I want everybody to get their, as I say, their hands dirty and basically make tutorials on all of this as we can proceed. Okay, but I think part of it is they don't know, and part of it is it's also new. What are they going to do with my data? And basically, those people that are employed, they don't want to lose their job because, think about it. Have you ever been to the health center here? Anybody ever been to the health center here? Raise your hand, right? So Dylan and so forth. Well, now they have Zoom. They're working on it where the physician, when they see you, as it is now, they're typing. Anybody see them? They type as they're seeing you. And that bothers me. Their back many times their back is towards me. And what's the problem? I said, you should be looking at me as a patient, not worried about filling out forms. So now what they have is what? They can have like a voice just like Annie or any of those recording it. And then for your summaries, for your report, Morgan, they can put it into your report. And then the physician, what they're supposed to be doing is reviewing it, not just take it as is. Because can they make mistakes? Of course. You know, just like you heard ChatGPT. I said, in this day, storage, and they heard stories, right? Or last time I said deep seek, they heard deep sea. So you always want the physician or the a person basically that knows the material to be summarizing and to be able to look at what they do. So that was one of their concerns, but that's what they want to do in healthcare is have that. And later on in healthcare will be besides them, if you have an x-ray, right? There's certain patterns to certain diseases that the AI will be able to say, hey, this looks suspicious, or this, I give you a clean bill of health. But then you need still a human that people are afraid. So they're doing a number of different things. And I agree with you, Emerson. It may be part of it they don't know, and part of it may be in a way they say, we don't know how good this is, and I don't want them listening to my meetings, right? Especially personal. But I think that in my case, I wanted the AI to listen. I want the AI to summarize, and I want the AI even to interrupt and say, Dr. Rush, I have a better example to think about. Why not, right? Help all of us. But at this time, they blocked it. They said that I can use all those facilities, but that I need to be on a separate server. And I have enough issues you can see in this class that I said, when you're ready to make it available to me on Zoom server, I will take you up on the offer. But at least they were, that's nice, right, Emerson? At least they were trying to accommodate me, in that way. They said, Dr. Rush, for you, we'll turn it on, but we don't want to turn it on for everyone. I said, nobody even knows about it, right? Did you know about those settings? You didn't know about those settings. So 99% of those people, right, Emerson, don't even know about those settings. I said, just give it to me. I'll turn it on. No one else will know. But they were too concerned about it. But anyways, it may be changing. It'd be interesting, Daniel, to find out who is the artificial intelligence director that they just hired for the university. I have his name somewhere, but we can search it and have him come to the class. What do you think, Daniel? That'd be great, right? He's just applied. Hopefully he can come and tell us what does he have in plan. Because the university, just like you said, Emerson, is so new to this that they have regular IT people that know very little about AI. So they've hired now someone about that. So we'll see how that, maybe we'll have him come. We'll have the head of IT security come. We'll have other guest speakers come. But that will be it. Okay, any other questions? So everybody understand what they need to do? And you can use a number of these bots available, and we'll see if it will help even to introduce. I'll introduce a number of other bots to you. See what are the pros and cons. Even these Call Annie, they have little animatos that some are better than others. I think sometimes that Annie they made her, I call her, right? They made her to be friendly. That Eric, they made him to be more stern. Looks at it that we can go to. Okay, any other questions? Stay with me. I'm going to do attendance. Stay with me if you have questions. Otherwise, we'll meet on Wednesday. Let me go to our section of attendance. do the check-in. Hopefully we'll get the check-in here. I'll go to check-in. Hopefully they'll come in, start check-in. And 9779. Heidi or Emerson, if you can put that number 9779 in the chat bot into our chat session that we can see at 9779. And then I will then and stop sharing. And then you can stay with me.
Sorry, what was the code again?
It's in chat.
Thank you.
Hi, Professor. You asked me to stay after.
Yeah,
Emailed about the Stuart Weitzman event.
right. That's great. So that's exciting. Do you have his shoes?
I do not have his shoes.
Are you interested in his shoes?
Oh, I love his shoes, but I'm more, those aren't quite in my budget yet. But
Okay, that's
one
great.
day,
So
who knows? Maybe they'll be giving out samples.
but yeah, they may be giving. You have to tell in advance your shoe size,
Right?
And if it's a little big, you can just stuff it with a little sock or something. Listen, as Sophia, that'll be good. What I'm going to ask you to do is that's on the 19th. So you're going to need to get with your group, right? And also see the recordings of what you miss. And
Okay.
then what I want you to do is the next time we meet, what I want you to do is do research, not only his company, but basically his competitors, and see how they're using IT, and especially how they're using AI.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Sounds
Because that's
good.
really where you're going to think about it. You know, they do it a lot, right? With clothing, right? I can try on this shirt. How do I look in this shirt? How do I look on this makeup, right? That we can and do it. I can on my glasses, right? You can see. So the question is how are they? And you may even want, that'll be a great question to ask them. If they're going for questions, you can
I
raise
know.
first of it. How are you using, especially, are you using AI and Gen AI in your company? And tell us about it.
That's
So
a great
number one,
question.
you'll
I'm definitely gonna ask.
and number one, you'll be standing out. You play tennis or ping pong? I saw that he plays table tennis and ping pong or something. He's saying go work, work. But anyways, but I
Yeah,
think
sure, I play whatever.
right,
can
you could
play with
say.
Stuart Weitzman.
You could say, I play ping pong too. Do you play tennis?
When I was growing up, I would play for fun. but-
Okay, so either that or tell them you. Have you played table tennis before? Ping pong?
I've failed at table tennis
Okay, so
before. I
you
haven't
found.
played, I have failed.
Okay, all
But-
right. So anyways, but I think it'd be better to show that you're
So amazing
there for
about
that.
him.
What?
Do you play table tennis?
I do both, but anyways, but that's beside the point, but I haven't played with him. But the question is, what I'd like you to do is do that. Go ahead, but do some research ahead of time. And then and you can even use ChatGPT or any of the other ones of what are they using in the high-end luxury,
Got
basic
it.
business, and then basically form your question, even have them help you form a question. That's insightful question. Even if he doesn't call on you, that's fine. But what I'd like you to do is basically
My question would go, how do you use AI and chat GPT to
not even just even ChatGPT, but what kind of
just use
are they using
AI?
AI in customer service? Are they implementing what kind of new technologies are they implementing in their business? And where is AI? Is AI playing a role in your business? Where do you see the
Sounds
future
good.
of it? And they're using it in sales, they're using it in customer service. Just asking in terms of that, of where what kind of applications they're using. And I'm sure they
Yes.
are.
Thank you very much, Professor.
welcome.
I appreciate
Okay,
it.
so I hope it works out well. The only
I
thing
hope
is
so
you'll be-
too.
and hopefully he'll call on you. And then the other thing is make sure that you're responsible for the work, and anything that was due that day, of course, you're responsible. And then check with the recordings and check with your group. Let your group know that you're going to this, afterwards to take, and you can always of what other assignments we have.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am. Thank you very
perfect.
much.
You're
Have a
welcome.
good rest of your day.
You too. Ciao. And is Christopher just gone? I think
I mean, he's on the screen. You
he's
see him
not.
at the bottom.
You see him?
It's like the,
Oh, Christopher, he's leaning back. I don't think he
he
knows.
might be
this.
asleep. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. All right. So, Christopher, are you around? I don't think he has a question. Either he's asleep or he lost something underneath his desk. Okay. So let me just type.
He's been looking for a long time.
I know. Or maybe it's not him. Maybe it's, when you wanted to be, when you had to sneak